الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المذلومين المنتخبين الذين كلامهم نور وأمرهم رشد ووصيتهم التقوى وفعلهم الخير وعادتهم الإحسان وسجيتهم الكرم لا سيما على المهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. اللهم صل على محمد. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the 9th verse of Surah Al-Jum'ah mentions or addresses the believers where he says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, when you are called towards the prayer of the day of Friday, then run towards this prayer, disperse towards this dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave the transactions that you were busy with. In analysis of this verse of Quranul Kareem, the first question that arises is why is it that the day of Friday in Arabic was known as Jum'ah? Because if a person goes and looks into the history of the Arabs, we notice that before Islam, the day of Friday had a different name to what it is today as Jumu'ah. So what was the reason that this day of Friday changed its name from whatever it was originally to this new name of Jumu'ah? The answer is given is that those Muslimin that had recently accepted Islam, they noticed that the Christians have a day of Sunday where they spend remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, devote to His worship, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Jews likewise have Saturday. And so they said, why don't we also have one day in the week where we devote to remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thank Him for our blessings. And so before the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, before he migrates from Medina, we are told there was a group of Muslimin, newly converts to Islam, that decided to gather together on a Friday. And they were very few in number. And they prayed whichever salah they prayed in jama'ah. And after they had prayed such, they had a goat which they sacrificed. They cooked the goat. And lunch and dinner was served from this one goat. Because here the Muslims came together, and in Arabic coming together is jam' and jama'ah. From this came the name Jumu'ah, because it was a day where the Muslims were told to gather together and congregate and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we understand, this day was something that when we look at the lives of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they often would speak about the fada'il and the virtues of each minute of this day. For example, we find in the narrations that this time right now, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour before iftar, Az-Zahra salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha would specifically send the servants in her house, whoever it was, Fidda or Asma or whoever, to go out onto the roof of the house and to look into the horizon and to tell Az-Zahra alayha salam of that time where only half of the sun is left on the horizon And when she would be informed of that, there were certain supplications that she would have specifically done in this period of time. Because as we were told, the last hour of Jum'ah is the most, or that hour which has the most barakah throughout all of the week. Once we understand that Jum'ah therefore was called such due to the gathering of the people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ. And here there are many fiqhi issues. And to discuss fiqhi issues and istidlal and things, especially when a person is fasting, is not the best thing to do. So leaving those issues of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said nudiya, the question comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said when you are called to prayer, what was meant by this? Very simply, as anyone would understand from this verse, nudiya referred to the adhan. وَإِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ. When the adhan takes place, and through this adhan you are called towards the masjid to pray this salah. Here we understand Mufassirin. When they look to analyze this verse, they speak about how this concept of the adhan in Islam came about. Very interestingly, ulama, they compare the riwayat of Ahlul Sunnah in this regard, and what the Shia and Madhab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam had to say about the call to prayer. So the Ahlul Sunnah, what they say is that they wanted a call to prayer. How can we remind people that this is the time to come and pray salah? So one group, they came and said, look, the Christians have a type of bell that they ring. Why don't we do the same thing? And according to this riwayah, the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, no, it's not really suitable for bells to be rung, and we will be then mimicking and imitating the other religions. So other groups came and said, no, there's a type of two wooden sticks that are hit together, they make a sound. This calls people towards prayer. And other religion, why don't we do the same thing? The reply was the same from the Prophet of Islam. A third group said, no, whenever we want to call people towards salah, there will be 5 or 6 or 10 designated people in society that will go to different parts of Medina and call out. Again, this was rejected. A fourth group said, why don't we go onto the top of the mountain? Every time it gets close to the time of Fajr, Maghrib, Isha, we light a fire. When we light a fire, the fire is so big, people can see the smoke. They have understood that this is the time for prayer. All of these were rejected. Until according to Ahl Sunnah and the ulama, they break up these riwayat to show how weak this narration is. And you can see for yourself that they came and said that the Prophet of Islam wasn't happy with any of these. But he, na'udhu billah, couldn't put forward his own suggestion. So what happened is one day, some of the companions, they came running to the Prophet of Islam and said, so and so, Ya Rasulullah, saw a dream. MashaAllah. He sees a dream, but the Prophet of Islam doesn't know. He saw a dream, Jibreel was there, and Jibreel told him this, Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ila akhirihi. The Prophet of Islam says, this is something beautiful, let's place this as our adhan. And that's why they don't have the parts of their adhan that we have. Because they said that person who saw a dream, mashallah, in his dream he didn't see hayya ala khair al-amal or whatever, and therefore we won't have it. The Shia said, look, our religion isn't that easy that anyone wakes up and sees a dream and says, I don't want to pay 3,900 pounds to go to Hajj, so I saw a dream that I can do tawaf around this center, and this is bari'u dhimma. Ahlul Sunnah said this was the case. Shia said no. We don't give anyone permission to see a dream and then make sharia. We have infallible a'imma. We have individuals who are the proofs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we were told through riwayat that Jibreel descends down to the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And was told that when you wish to call people towards the prayer, this is the adhan, and these are the parts and ajza of the adhan. What we understand is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ, the adhan was there. Why? It's not the only time I can pray salah. The adhan was there for those people who are haris. Haris means greedy. For أَوَّلُ الْوَقْتِ وَأَوَّلُ الْفَذِيلَةِ. As the narrations of the Imma say, فَذِيلَةُ أَوَّلِ الْوَقْتِ عن آخره كفذيلة الآخرة على الدنيا. I can pray late. I can pray my dhuhr at this time. I can pray Fajr just before the sun is rising. But what's the fadila of awwalul waqt? The Imam said fadila of awwalul waqt, right at the time that the salah sets in, is like the virtue of akhirah in relation to dunya. Dunya, I have something good, a ni'mah of Allah. It goes very quickly. Akhirah, it remains. The salah of a person in awwalul waqt, the benefits of it will remain in his life. Fi khilaf akhir al-waqt. The akhirah, there are many veils lifted between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the akhirah. In the akhirah, the bounties are unlimited compared to the dunya. This is the example of a person's salah at the beginning of the time compared to someone at the end of the time. Both are saqit of wujub. The wujub of salah is gone. The person has prayed, but there's a big difference. Allah says, Nudiya lis-salah min yawm al-jumu'ah fas'aw ila dhikrillah. The question comes, what was the reason behind revelation of this verse? As we understand, the Muslims in Medina, when the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrates to Madinatul Munawwara, and the first Salatul Jumu'ah is performed, and then every week they have Salatul Jumu'ah in Masjid al-Nabawi. We are told that one day the Muslims there had a difficult life. There was boycott from others around them and whatever. A period of time took place where things were very expensive in Medina. The Muslims at that time had very little money. A lot of them either had just migrated from Mecca, and those who were already in Medina gave a lot of their wealth to help these migrants, these muhajirin. So money was very scarce. Prices were very high. One day they entered into the masjid to pray salah. Recession, we don't have any money. As the Prophet of Islam is giving his khutbah and sermon, they hear a type of noise outside near the place of Jannatul Baqi. We are told near Jannatul Baqi there was a point. Any person who enters into Medina as a tajir and a businessman with his goods would go to that place and they would ring a type of bell. So people understand that there's new goods coming from Yemen, from Syria, wherever. These Muslimin, they said, we saw the Prophet of Islam giving his khutbah, we heard that bell. We had remembered that a few months before, one of the people of Medina had gone to trade in oil and zayt so that he could get some money, buy more goods. The supply increases. There will be cheaper prices for these goods for us now in Medina. The history mentions that as soon as this bell was heard, every single person except for 12 people remained listening to the Prophet of Islam. The others went towards tijara. So as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, idha nudiya lis-salah min yawm al-jumu'ah, fas'aw ila dhikrillah. Run towards remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wadharul bay. Forget this transaction and buying and selling during the time of adhan. This is better for you if you were to know. According to the riwayat, the Prophet of Islam, Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, is one of those 12 who stays. The Prophet of Islam says, if it wasn't for these 12 individuals that stayed to listen to my khutbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have filled all of Medina with the fire of Jahannam. If it wasn't for these 12. Here we understand that the verse in question was teaching us a very important lesson. Often we don't understand and realize. A person in this dunya doesn't realize who the power of dunya, whose hands is the power of dunya in. You know, a person once, he was in the masjid of the Prophet of Islam, Sa'ad, one of the companions, and he's praying salah. As we know, one of the qualities of salah is that unless certain circumstances come about, I can't break my salah. Salah la tuqatta, except for in certain cases. He's praying his salah. The Prophet of Islam calls out his name. But what do? I'm praying salah and he's calling me. So instead of breaking his salah, he speeds up praying. Let me finish quickly. Prophet of Islam calls him out a second time. Again, he tries to quickly speed up. A third time, still he quickly speeds up and finishes. 2 or 3 minutes later, he comes and says, Yes, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet of Islam says, what do you want from me now? He says, what do you mean I was praying? You're the one that said that salah cannot be broken. He said, you remembered salah, you forgot the person that gave you this gift of salah. The person that taught you salah in the first place. Those individuals, they saw the Prophet of Islam, but they thought, no, my rizq is not in the hands of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My rizq is in the hands of who? Of this person who's come from Yemen with all of these new goods. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, leave this bay, leave this tijara, and run towards the dhikr and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you look at the lives of the Ummah, we need to live. A person needs to earn his money. Islam never said don't do business, don't earn your money, don't have wealth. But Islam said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls a certain person towards him, like in Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself calls you. Like Shahr Ramadan, he called you to fast. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls you and invites you on the day of Jum'ah, leave everything and put everything in the hands of your Lord Rabbul Alameen. In regards to this, we are told in Kufa, those who have been have seen the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen Salamullahi alayhi. A small house, of course, they rebuilt it in the same area. You've seen the house of Ali bin Abi Talib. The person says, I came to visit, who at that time was the Khalif. When he was in Kufa, he was the Khalif. So I came to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen, and I entered into his house. And in my mind, I realized I had a thought of what his house will be. Yes, he's pious, he's close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he's a leader. People need to come and visit him, politicians. He would have some sort of normal level of house. So I entered in, I sat with him on the floor. I looked around his house. After a while, I said, Ya Abul Hassan, where is your furniture? Are you moving house, some renovation? Why is there no furniture in the house? So Amir al-Mu'mineen said, it's in my second house. So he thought, like we have politicians here, they have one house on a holiday home, one house for my work, one house for this, that. In the same way, he's probably got one house at this part of Kufa, another house somewhere else. After all, Na'udhu Billah, he is a leader. He says, go and look in my second house. He says, I came out, I asked this person, I asked that person, I asked every single person I could find in Kufa, have you seen the house of Ali bin Abi Talib? He said, that one. He said, no, the second house. He said, we've never heard that he has a second house. Even this house was either given to him by someone, gift, or was rented. It wasn't his own house. He says, I came back. I said, Ya Abul Hassan, I looked all of Kufa. I couldn't find your house. He said, my house, the second house, is the house of Akhirah. Go and look at the furniture that I have placed in that house of Akhirah. Go and look at how I have equipped that house with a'mal, the house of Akhirah, not the house of dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when you were called to listen to the khutbah of the Prophet of Islam, leave everything else and run towards this dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here then a question arises. Once we understand the context of this verse, we are told often that the day of Friday is a day of Eid. In fact, riwayat also mention that in comparison to Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, the day of Friday is a greater Eid than both of them. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, the two great Eid that the Muslimin have, the day of Friday is much better than this. Why? So in response to why Friday every single week, every single Friday was a day of Eid, different ideas came about. One idea that was mentioned, both بين السنة والشيعة, is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I created this whole universe and earth in 6 stages, the 6th day was said to be Friday. Now, how it was Friday when we didn't have day and night, these are issues that the riwayat don't mention. However, it was on this day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Nabiullah Adam alayhi salam. And therefore, because it was the day on which Abul Bashar, Adam salamullah alayhi, was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the teen and the ruh, and then he was formed. As a remembrance of the birth of Adam alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed Friday. That every single Friday an Eid comes, the human being remembers his father Adam alayhi salam, remembers his khalq and creation, and therefore this is a joyous occasion. It's interesting as well this, that Adam alayhi salam was born on, or created on a Friday, which is why it is the day of Eid, was mentioned by the Sunni and the Shia. Isn't it interesting? You can say that the day in which Adam alayhi salam was born is Eid, and when I say the day in which the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born is also Eid, you have a problem. If you say that Allah praised Friday for me to remember the creation of Adam alayhi salam, what then is a problem when a person remembers the birth of the Prophet of Islam? Or when he remembers the birth of the Savior of mankind, Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullah alayhi. If Allah created Friday for this reason, as a joyous time where people wear white and perfume themselves and come into the masjid and eat that which is sweet and gather together to remember Adam alayhi salam, Allah was telling us it is a sunnah and part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tradition to remember the births and the events of the lives of the saints of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I sit, for example, here and people say, why do you remember this Imam on this day, on his birthday? Where was it mentioned? Why do you call Friday an Eid? This was one idea. Another answer, however, was given in traditions of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Jum'ah, we said, means when people gather. There was a gathering that took place before anyone came into this world. Before anyone was created in the alamul madda, and this with this body, the souls were brought forward. And they were made to testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they testified. And then all of creation was made to testify, or was shown rather. The Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, they were shown his prophethood and that he is Khatimul Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen, and a group also testified. And then they were made to testify, and a smaller group testified to the wilayah of Ali bin Abi Talib salamullahi alayhi. The riwayah comes, do you know why it was called Eid and Jumu'ah? Because when we were made to testify to the wilayah of the Imams and Anbiya and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did so on a Friday. That all of the mu'mineen came together on a Friday to do iqrar and accept the wilayah of Ali bin Abi Talib. And so when I'm told that Friday is a day of Eid, it's a day when I remember the covenant I made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you read certain riwayat about this verse of what is the meaning of salah, nudiya lis-salah, what is the meaning of bay? I'm not going to tell you, you can find it yourself. A person becomes astonished as to what the Quran was telling the believers in this time. The Quran was saying, remember that time when you did iqrar and accepted the wilayah of Amirul Mu'mineen. And that's why it was that Zahra in these last few hours of the Friday would do certain supplications that she would specifically keep only for this time. Of the supplications that the A'imma alayhimus salam gave us for these last hours of Friday specifically was in relation to this wilayah of the Imams that I have, was specifically in relation to Sahibul Asri wal Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And so we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the last few minutes of the day of Friday to hasten the reappearance of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, because a person when he is fasting, as you know, especially the last few moments before he breaks his fast, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I don't reject that person's dua. And so we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima tu'azzu biha al-islam wa ahla wa tudhillu biha an-nifaq wa ahla wa taj'aluna fiha min ad-du'ati ila ta'atik wal qadati إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم كن لوليك ابن الحسين صلواتك عليه عبائي في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. وصلى اللهم على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.